I'm Richard.
And I'm Will.
And together we're
The Irreverent Nerds. Bum, bum, bum.
Nerds! For those of you who are not yet aware, we are currently offering a monthly subscription service for our listeners for the low price of $2.99 per month. I mean, that's like the price of what? A 12-ounce drip coffee at Starbucks or half of a Starbucks latte? For $2.99 a month, subscribers will gain access to 2 brand new bonus episodes dropping on the first and third Fridays of each month, plus our entire back catalog of bonus episodes. And that ranges from our most recent film review of the 2023 movie Flash, going all the way back to another movie, our very first bonus episode, which not coincidentally is connected to Flash, and that is Tim Burton's 1989 film Batman. And there's a lot in between that you're going to miss out on if you don't subscribe. So hey, click on the link in the description today to get started. Nerds, thank you so much. Now back to today's episode.
Today's episode of the Irreverent Nerd Podcast has been brought to you by Duff Beer. Don't just sit on your duff. Get in the bar and drink some beer. That means you too, Homer.
Nerds.
Nerds.
I don't know why I started off with a Scottish accent. There are no Scottish characters in this movie. Well, why did I do that? Why do I do that?
I think you just like it.
Maybe I just really like to talk like... Is it Willie? Willie from The Simpsons?
It could... Okay, I'm not going to even try. Well, you know what? You could try Scrooge McDuck.
Yeah. I've never been able to do that, I don't think. Maybe the more recent one where it's... what's his face?
Doctor Who?
David Tennant. I can do a little bit of David Tennant. Especially if I've just watched Broadchurch, but... Yeah. Anyway, for some reason, I decided... Maybe it's because we're wearing green. Although, no, that doesn't work, because... Green is Irish.
We should just stop it now and read. No, I'm kidding.
Stop it now. Okay.
Redo it. No,
So,
I'm kidding.
Despite what you might think, the movie we just came out of was...
It's not DuckTales.
It's not DuckTales. Although they do need to make another DuckTales movie at some point. That would be awesome. But no, it was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem. And we are kicking off a month of Turtles. So... August is all about turtles in honor of this film's release, and we're kicking off the month with this film. It's actually, this was pretty sci-fi. It's not what you would call classical sci-fi, but it had sci-fi elements.
Yeah,
I think we can shoehorn it in there, you know. And we just really wanted to cover it, and we wanted to cover it the week that it came out, so this is what you guys are getting. But yeah, that's going to kick off week 1. And week 2, we're going to jump into the comics that started it all. Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird, who do get some nice little homages and nods in this film. I thought that was cool. I'm sure they were involved on some level. Well, actually, I don't know for sure, but I would think maybe like Stan Lee with the MCU. Maybe they were consulted on some level. But anyway, they wrote the comics back in the 80s, right? That kicked it off this whole thing.
Yeah.
And so we're going to talk about a particular storyline from the 80s comics, which Will owns, like, all of them, or the first few volumes?
I own as early as issue number 5, but I do have reprints of issue number 1.
Okay, so
I don't have all of the issues.
He owns some of them.
I'm lacking City at War. If any of you guys can get me some City at War issues at a reasonable price. I'm kidding. But yeah.
Nice. So, hey, you heard him, like, he'd be down to pay reasonable prices, you know. So,
reasonable.
but anyway, so that's going to be week number 2, and then week number 3 is going to be, what did you say it was called? A Teenage Mutant Turtles anime, but
yeah,
what was the name of it?
I believe it's called Superman Legends, which has nothing to do with DC Superman. It's
the translation.
But it's the TMNT OVA. Yeah, I don't have the Japanese name untranslated memorized, so can't repeat it. But yeah,
Yeah, because
some of you
it's
will...
just that bad. That's why he can't repeat it. It's vulgar. No, I'm just
No.
kidding. He just but anyway, it's done in anime style, right?
Yeah,
So,
and some of you will remember that I covered it in Japan Jaunt, but Richard and I are going to do more than 5 minutes, and we're going to get his thoughts on it. So stay tuned for that
yeah,
anime.
yeah. So that's the plan for week 3 for Anime Week, and then we've got a couple different options. We have the final episode of the month will be Turtles related. I think we have at least 3 different options that we could drop in there. We haven't settled
Quite
on
a
one yet,
few.
so it's to be determined. But it's going to be something Turtles related, a Turtles film most likely. So stay tuned for that. We will finish off with our movie of the month, which will be a Turtles movie. We just haven't nailed down which one we want to do yet. So, but that is coming. So it's Turtles month. All Turtles, all the time in the month of August.
Cowabunga dudes. That was terrible.
So, jumping into tonight's topic, Will, do you want to kick off with like a little brief synopsis and maybe a rundown of the cast of this film?
Well, reading off of the wiki, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem is a 2023 American computer animated superhero film directed by Jeff Rowe from a screenplay he co-wrote with Seth Rogen, Yvonne Goldberg, Dan Hernandez, and Benji Samit. Samit?
I don't know.
It is the 7th theatrical Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles film and a reboot of the series. The film stars the voices of Micah Abbey, Shamon Brown Jr., Nicholas Cantu, and Brady Noon as the titular team alongside supporting...
Titular, which sounds slightly inappropriate, but yes, titular. Sorry, I'm a grammar Nazi. I'm sorry. No, sorry. Never mind.
They don't get us canceled, Richard. No, I'm kidding.
I'm a grammar fascist, so I'm not quite as bad. No, I'm just kidding. Occasionally I make corrections. Yeah. Anyway,
you can stop being
titular.
Nervous now. Alongside supporting ensemble voice cast that includes Hannibal Buress, Rose Byrne, John Cena, Jackie Chan, Ice Cube, Natasha Dimitrio, Ayo Edebiri, Gan Carey, Giancarlo Esposito.
Let me see that. Giancarlo Esposito, who has been on Star Wars not too long ago. I think. Actually, I might be getting it mixed up. Anyway, continue.
Post Malone, whoever that is. No, I'm kidding. Rogan.
Do you know who Post Malone is?
Actually, I don't.
You don't? Okay. He's
famous.
He's a hip hop.
So you guys know
artist.
who he is.
Yeah. Although he appears he's credited as Austin Post, which is his real name.
Oh, okay.
But he goes by Post. His music name is Post Malone. I like his stuff actually, particularly his album Hollywood's Bleeding.
Paul Rudd and Maya Rudolph. I probably heard Post Malone's stuff, and I just don't know it's his stuff.
Oh yeah, he has a song at the end of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh, cool.
Oh,
that one's good.
Yeah, that's him. Yeah, I mean he collaborated with someone on that, but yeah, Post Malone's the main guy in that song. So.
In the film, after years of being sheltered from the human world, the Turtles set out to be accepted as normal teenagers through acts of heroism. The brothers go on a hunt for a mysterious crime syndicate, but trouble arises when an army of mutants is unleashed upon them. And that is...
I think that's it for the intro there. We don't want
to get... for the intro.
We don't get too much into production or the plot yet, because we want to start off with a spoiler-free review for... at least for the next 7 minutes. This is a 15-minute segment.
Down.
So we want to give our initial impressions, spoiler-free, and then we will give you a warning once we're getting into our main review of the film, which we're not going to try hard to refrain from spoilers. So given that this is coming out on the day of the release, proceed with caution. But for right now, we're going to do our best to just give our spoiler-free initial impressions. So, Will, you want to go first?
No, I'm kidding.
I mean, I can go first. I'll go first. You did just talk for a bit.
I have a lot of impressions, but I think most of them are spoilerific. So yeah, I mean, I'm not sure what to say without spoiling it. It's a good film. They go in some new directions, which I think are good. Exploring some as of yet unexplored directions for the characters in the series. They did change things a little bit, and I'll talk about that when we get to the spoiler aspect. What did you think, Richard?
Well, I thought we could actually. I was thinking through while I was using the bathroom before we came over here. I was thinking through our nerd hair review because we've talked about like categorizing the hats. Like, say, what if we did one hat for maybe directing / editing, one hat for writing, one hat for acting, one hat for music, one hat for production value, that kind of thing. So I thought we could play around with that a bit in this initial part because we usually give our how many nerd hats in our spoiler-free reviews. So I was thinking. So I'll give mine. So let's see. This is experimental, by the way. We're still kind of figuring out how we categorize. But let's say direction / editing, which has to do with like the tonality of the film, the pacing, well, not so much the writing, but the tonality of the film, the pacing, the cutting, that kind of thing. So I will give that, let's see, I'm going to give that one nerd hat because I thought they did a really good job. I thought it was well paced. It's an animated film, so it's a little shorter, so they typically are faster paced anyway. But yeah, I thought they did a pretty good job. They did enough backstory to set the pain. So but not too much, because they know there's been so much around these properties. They don't have to do a ton of backstory. So they did enough, I thought, and I thought they wove it well into the plot. And so I would say, let's say one nerd hat for that. For writing, I think I would give a full nerd hat for the writing. Like, the plot is really good. I enjoyed the story. Was compelling. I thought the dialogue and the interplay between the turtles, it felt like real teenagers. Like, not that I hang out with young teenagers on a regular basis, but it felt more authentic, I think.
Right.
Like how teenagers might actually talk to one another.
They definitely focused on the teenage aspect more in this film.
Yeah, even down to like the turtles like wanting to go to high school and things like that, and having desires. One through line I noticed with this, between this and the movie we just reviewed last week, and that is the original, was that there is a love interest. Like, one of the turtles really likes April.
Right, which is not the first time this has happened, but still.
Yeah, no. And I'm not sure if the live action film was the first time that was implied, or if it had been implied prior to that. Maybe in the animated series. I'm trying to remember.
Not in the original that I'm aware of. But the 2012 animated CGI series, Donatello was in love with April. Mikey always has comments about how attractive April is, but has never actually pursued her. This is just to give it some examples. No spoilers for this film.
Yeah, no. But there's a love interest. I forget why I brought that up, but anyway, I thought the writing was pretty solid. Like I said, they did film more like real teenagers. I liked some of the tweaks with the story and with the origins. I thought those were good. And so yeah, I think the acting, I think across the board, like, I would give each category. So I enjoyed all of it. I wouldn't necessarily give it 5 stars, but I think I would give each category at least 0.75 nerd hats. So I think that would add up to. I'm thinking my total. This is not precise science, and we're still figuring this out. But I think I'm gonna say 4.25 nerd hats, and we're trying to be a little more conservative now and a little more like critical with our nerd hat ratings. Like, I feel like sometimes we come out of the theater, we either have a very emotional negative response or a very emotional, and it's harder sometimes to think critically through things. Obviously, this is still somewhat of an instant review, but coming out of the gate, I'm going to give it 4.25 nerd hats with our new work in progress, slightly more discerning critique. So, how about you?
I've
what would
already
you say?
decided to give it 4 nerd hats, and that's not. I'm not saying it doesn't deserve another 0.25. I'm just saying I like nice round numbers.
Okay. It's a 4 out of 5 for Will, and 4.25 for myself. So that's our initial rating. Coming right out of the theater and not having too long to think about it and critique it. But yeah, general impressions. Like I really enjoyed it. I see why it's getting high ratings on Rotten Tomatoes right out of the gate. People are calling it the best Turtles film ever made. I would say it's the best one I've seen.
Cool.
And I've not seen all of them. Now, I've not seen all of them, but of the 3 or 4 that I have seen, it's definitely the better of. And I enjoyed the CGI, the 2007 CGI film TMNT. I thoroughly enjoyed that. I think this outdoes it.
The 2006 one, right?
6? Okay, right in that 6, 7 kind of.
Right.
Whenever it came out, like in the aughts. I think it was 07. I was just looking that up.
Oh, it doesn't matter. I just want to
Anyway.
make sure we're talking about the same film.
Yeah, he's a date Nazi. No.
Yes. I remember exactly where I was.
I'm a grammar fascist, and he's
That
a
year.
date fascist, calendar date fascist. Anyway, neither one of us are fascists. Don't worry.
Dun
No.
dun dun.
Oh, and our time is up. So anyway,
Nerds, we would love to find out who is on the other side of the microphone. There are multiple options by which you can connect with us. Our Instagram handle is @irreverent_nerds. We are on Facebook and YouTube as simply The Irreverent Nerds. Makes sense, right? And of course, we are on your podcast app. If you listen on Spotify, scroll down through the episode description and you will see a question. What did you think of this episode? We welcome your feedback, including your constructive criticism. We also post episode-specific polls and questions from time to time on Spotify, so please feel free to jump in and give us your 2 cents. All right, nerds, I've talked enough. Let's get back to this week's episode.
the spoiler-free portion. Will gives it 4 nerd hats. I give it 4.25. We both have favorable reviews. Both enjoyed it, right? I would say it's the best Turtles movie I have seen. How about you?
It's not my favorite Turtles film, but it might be the best Turtle film. I'm going to have to think about that because there are a lot of Turtle films. There are some films that I automatically know that this is better than those particular films. I still have a soft spot for the very first one in my heart. But I'm going to go ahead and say this probably is the best Turtle film. The plot was well thought out, and they really did a lot of thinking about who these characters are, trying to flesh each turtle out, and good relationship with Splinter, their father. They really focused on how they're teens. I think that the earlier incarnations of the Turtles, like the first film, I think they were probably older teens. But in this film, they're definitely younger teenagers. But
Yeah, I think
definitely focusing on who
15,
they would be as
15,
teenagers.
right? I guess 15.
Yeah.
So like freshman, sophomore age, that kind of thing.
I lost my train of thought.
Well, maybe that's a good segue.
Yes.
Into our second portion. And spoiler warning here, we will get into more of the details of the film. So if you don't want to be spoiled, if you want to be surprised by, say, the ways they might have tweaked it or made it different from other Turtles properties, then pause, come back, because we still want you to finish it, but, pause until you've seen the film and then come back. And then let us know what you think, by the way. There's a question in Spotify. If you're listening in Spotify, at the bottom of every episode, there's a question that pops up, says, what did you think of the episode? And you can tell us anything you want there. You can also leave us a voice message.
Yeah.
Give us your own little, 1-2 minute review. Tell us how many nerd hats you would give it, and we'll include it in next week's episode. So yeah, as always, you can go to irreverentnerds.com, which links to our Spotify for spodcasters. No, Spotify for podcasters profile, where you can drop us a voice message. You can also subscribe there, which $2.99 a month right now is what it's set at. We may adjust that at some point, but for now it's $2.99 a month. You get 2 bonus episodes releasing on the first and third Fridays of each month, as well as access to our complete back catalog of bonus episodes and video versions. Like whenever we are able to record a video version of an episode, we will release that to subscribers only. We're no longer putting them on YouTube. With maybe if we get a really famous guest or something at some point, we will probably put that on YouTube as well.
Cool.
But for now, it's subscriber only. So anyway, little plug for our cast here. So let's get into the meat, as they say.
Meat.
Yeah. Get into the meat.
Meat. I have lots of thoughts and opinions.
All right. Well, you want to start us off then, and I'll kind of play off of you.
I'm being nitpicky. Sure. I'll start off. The origin was changed. I did hear that going in, but I didn't know how it was changed. This version of the Turtles is completely divorced from Shredder and the Foot Clan, which is good because it works for this film. But I don't know. I won't know how that settles with me until the sequel. And this is the spoilers area,
yes.
So
spoiler warning right here.
There will be a sequel, and it looks like Shredder will be involved. So I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know how I feel about Splinter not having Hamato Yoshi in his life. I don't know how I feel about... I mean, I think it's really clever how, and makes a lot of sense how and why Splinter trains his sons in ninjutsu. It also explains why there's been some jokes, or at least in the anime, the Turtle anime we will review later this month, some jokes about the Turtles not being real ninjas.
Oh,
so that
well,
so
yeah,
because
they're not assassins, and they're not like. I mean, they lurk in the shadows sometimes, like I guess the sewers, but yeah, they're not necessarily like they come out and fight in the open once it actually comes down to it, right? So which is
right.
I guess different than what ninjas would traditionally do. So Teenage Mutant Samurai, no, martial arts soldier, no, Teenage Mutant Martial Art Turtles just doesn't roll off the tongue, I guess.
Or if you're in the UK, Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles.
Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles, yeah,
that's a thing.
Apparently it is. I did not know this until last week, and I just went Australian, and that's the wrong continent. Sorry.
They took away Mikey's nunchucks, but let Leo keep his sword, so that makes no sense.
Wait, what? Mikey had nunchucks?
Not in the UK, he didn't.
Oh, in the UK. Okay, sorry.
It was too dangerous.
Well, they definitely had their weapons in this, and they weren't afraid to use them. Leo definitely uses his swords against other people and humans, although conspicuously there's no blood.
Which I appreciate.
Kind of like an X-Men movie, I guess. Like Wolverine is a very bloody fighter, but there's conspicuously never any blood in the PG-13 versions.
Right. And
or very little, anyway.
Which will probably not be the case for the Deadpool Wolverine film coming out.
Oh, I'm sure not. It'll probably be more Logan level.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I think Logan is, to date, in my opinion, the best X-Men film to date.
Cool.
Yeah. So I'm hoping, obviously with a Deadpool humor flair, but I'm hoping there's some of the gravitas from Logan in this. But I'm sure, either way, I'm sure Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds are going to have a lot of fun with it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So when I said I appreciate that, I didn't mean the lack of blood. That just makes sense because it's a kids movie. I meant that I appreciate they use their weapons. Unlike Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, Secret of the Ooze, in which in that film they were not allowed to use their weapons because after the first film, parents wanted them to be less violent.
Interesting.
Yes. Anyway.
Meanwhile, they still use their weapons in the cartoon, did they not?
Yeah, against
Just-
robots, but
oh,
they did.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, you get away with it because it's robots, and like with Batman the animated series, get away with it because Batman never kills anybody, and you never see anybody die on screen. It's certainly plenty of bullets, though.
Plenty of bullets. Speaking
anyway.
of which, someone died in this film. At least 2 people died in this film. No, 3, 4. 4 people died in this Mutant Mayhem film.
Did they?
Yeah, Baxter Stockman, unless he proves to still be alive, he died.
Oh yeah. Well, they don't show it. They just show him getting abducted, but then they don't show him again. So you assume that either he's being held captive somewhere and being forced to do science, or maybe they did kill him.
Yeah,
But
I
they
mean,
don't-
Superfly assumes that he's dead,
Yeah, I think so.
which in the
It's
original,
part of his vendetta against the humans, right?
yeah, that makes sense. That's true. In the original cartoon series, Baxter Stockman was the Fly, but they divided the character this time around, just as a note.
Okay. So this was a comic character, or
No,
at least,
yes.
inspired by a comic character.
Baxter Stockman is definitely a comic book character.
Does he like turn himself into a mutant fly somehow?
In the cartoon series, he accidentally turns into a mutant fly.
Help me! Help me!
I think he says that.
Really? Have you ever seen the original The Fly?
The one with Ian Malcolm? Or the other one?
No, the original.
Okay. No, I haven't.
Oh, it's great. Yeah.
Jeff
I have not
Goldblum.
seen the Jeff Goldblum one yet. I need to catch that.
I've seen a little bit of it, and that monkey that gets turned inside out. Ew.
Yeah, I've heard it's pretty gross. But the original is actually, I think Vincent Price was in it. If I'm not
Oh,
mistaken.
wow. Cool.
But it was pretty. That part was hilarious because I had heard references to it. Oh yeah, I think it was Emperor's New Groove. We're jumping all over the place right now, but
Yes,
Emperor's
we
New
are.
Groove made a
ADHD.
reference to it. But when I saw the actual film, I was like, "This is great." There's like a human head was transplanted onto a fly,
I need to see
and the
this.
fly head transplanted onto a human. But the tiny little fly with the human head gets stuck in a spider web, and he's just like, "Help me!"
Oh my
Help me."
gosh.
It's
Oh, I've
creepy
seen
but
clips.
hilarious at the same time.
I've seen clips of that actually.
Have you?
Of the fly head on the human.
Oh,
But yeah, I'm pretty sure Jeff Goldblum's film was different.
yeah, that's what I've heard. Cronenberg has no qualms about going for the gore, as they say. Anyway, we're getting all over the place. You know, when we've mentioned David
Yeah.
Cronenberg, we're getting off the rails a bit.
So
Oh.
Baxter Stockman was a scientist in the comics. He did not turn into a fly in the comics. He was the inventor of the Mousers, which yet to this day we have not had a Mouser story in a movie. I kind of wanted to see that in live action in the original.
The Mousers were the
Trilogy, but it didn't
robots,
happen.
right? Like the little hopping
Yeah.
robots.
That go after the rats.
Yeah.
And Splinter. So in this film, Baxter Stockman is not a villain like he is in every other portrayal.
Yeah, he just creates the villain.
Yeah, he just creates a villain.
Unintentionally, I guess.
So that's all I have to say about Baxter Stockman.
Yeah, and like his storyline along with the turtle, there's one of the biggest through lines here is the idea of being an outcast. You know, obviously mutants, and there's a lot to play off of there. Obviously, X-Men has dealt a lot with those themes with mutants and not being accepted. But the turtles obviously are very different from humans. They don't just look human, but then have these weird mutant superpowers. They are straight up turtles, and then their dad is a mutant rat.
Who I enjoyed very much in this film.
Oh yeah, Jackie Chan was great.
Yeah.
It was funny. It was funny and a nice different take. Like he's still that fatherly wisdom, but with some Jackie Chan levity, I guess,
Yeah, definitely.
mixed in, which I liked that too. But speaking of Jackie Chan's character Splinter, that is where there's a major divergence. Like you said, like there's not the connection. Like he didn't grow up as a rat watching,
Yeah.
Learning
Martial arts.
ninjutsu from his
Yeah.
master. And there was so at this point, at least that we know of, there's no personal connection between Splinter and
No.
Shredder.
And there's no... I mean, it's not the first time they changed the origin. In the cartoon series, Master Splinter was Hamato Yoshi. But this is an extreme divergence, being that there's no connection with the Foot Clan or Shredder.
So, oh, wow. Actually, I like that better. So, you said in the original comics, he was Hamato Yoshi?
No. In the cartoon...
In the cartoon, he was.
In the original 80s cartoon and in the 2012 cartoon, he was Hamato Yoshi.
And got transformed into a mutant rat.
You might like the 2012 series if you ever have time, but
I think you said what, the 2003 is your favorite?
It is. I'm not sure which my favorite is, but the 2003 series takes cues from the live action movie and is the most accurate to the comics.
Nice.
So if you liked Raphael in the movie, you'll like Raphael in the 2003 cartoon. Just to give an example, Casey Jones is back, things like that.
So bringing Raphael as a segue back to this, like, how did you like? I guess the individual characters, like, how did you like Raphael in this version?
I liked him.
Definitely still has the rage.
Yeah, it still has the rage. I noticed that they did a full bandana over his skull instead of just the mask in the front for some reason.
Yeah. I guess maybe to represent the rage, maybe?
Maybe.
On some level, maybe? Or just to be different?
Yeah, maybe just to be different. I'm not really sure.
He was a little bit bigger than the other turtles, too. Like, his shell was a little bigger. And
yeah.
He was just... Yeah, and there were different sizes in this. Not extreme, but, like, differences between the turtles, which I like that.
Yeah, and...
Mikey was the smallest, I guess.
I think you talked about how we might review the Rise of the TMNT movie this month.
Yeah, that will... It's on Netflix, and I found it. We were thinking about doing it for this week, but then we decided just to go ahead with this. So we'll either drop it as a subscriber-only episode, or it may end up being the final episode of the month.
Yeah.
One of those two, so, yeah.
Well, in that one, the turtles are different sizes, and Raphael is huge. So it's not the first time they've changed Raphael's size.
I saw that. That does look interesting, by the way, and definitely it deals back with the Krang. Krang? Right?
Yeah.
Krang.
Speaking of the Krang are based off after the Utrom. The Utrom in the original comic book series are these brain aliens. They're actually peaceful. They're good guys. But in the 80s,
Turtles.
in the 80s cartoon, the Utrom known as Krang is a villain, and in the 2012 series,
he rides in the intestines of a man robot, a giant man bot.
That's technically from the comics.
Is it really?
Yeah. Yeah.
This is my servant. I don't know if I'm getting him right. It's been a while since I've seen him.
Yes, you are.
Turtles! Oh, dude. Here's another one for Brian Rengrove. Krang and Zoidberg.
Oh my gosh.
Maybe
How would you
Krang
even
and
do that?
Joker here, bringing April cheer. Today's podcast is brought to you by Joker's Laughing Fish. Come on, you've got to try one. They're to die for.
Joker here. I'd like to take a moment to talk to you about the Irreverent Nerds. They're sitting here in my hideout, all tied up. So they can't say this themselves, but they would like you to know that there are multiple options by which you can connect with them. Their Instagram handle is @irreverent_nerds. They're on Facebook and YouTube as simply the Irreverent Nerds. So pedantic. And of course, they are on your podcast app. If you listen on Spotify, scroll down and you will see a question. What did you think of this episode? They welcome your feedback, or so they told me. They also post episode-specific polls and questions from time to time, so please feel free to jump in and give them your 2 cents. While they're still alive. All right, nerds, I've talked enough. Let's get back to this week's episode. It might be their last.
Maybe Krang
Krang
inside of Zoidberg.
Wow.
Because Zoidberg ate him. No. Anyway, Brian, you've been given another challenge.
Yeah. Now, in this film, I noticed, in the comics and several of the cartoon series, TCRI stands for Techno Cosmic Research Institute. And the cosmic part is because they are aliens from outer space. I don't know what the Mutant Mayhem film universe will do, but Cynthia's last name is Utrom. Cynthia Utrom. That might, I don't know if that's a hint that she is an Utrom.
She did look a little weird, although most of the humans did in this, in fairness. Her face was a bit misshapen, but that was kind of the art style.
Yeah,
too,
it
so
was.
It's like there wasn't a clear hint other than that.
I don't
reference.
know if Cynthia is an alien or if that was just a reference to the original idea for TCRI. I don't know.
Could be, yeah, because they definitely dropped some references to other properties in this, which makes sense. I mean, why wouldn't you? And they even had some fun with Laird and Eastman. Like there was a pizza place called Laird's.
Yeah.
And there was an Eastman reference in there too. Eastman High, I think. Which is that from the comic?
Eastman High? No, I don't believe there was a high school in the comics.
Okay. Yeah.
This is the second time, let me rephrase that. There was an animated short Nickelodeon put out, but otherwise this would be the second time the Turtles have gone to high school or had any interest in high school. So, not a whole lot there.
Yeah, and I thought that was an interesting take because, again, spoiler warnings, but at the end of the film, because of their heroics, they are basically welcomed into the human world, and they are able to actually go to high school and go to prom even, and you know, Mikey gets to do his twerking out on the floor, and Leo gets to take April out. By the way, obviously Leo's the one who's sweet on April, and she accepts his invitation to go to prom.
So
Interspecial dating.
Oh yeah, I almost gave that away earlier by accident in our spoiler-free section, but not a major plot point of any kind. But
yeah, no, it's not crucial to the plot.
No.
It's more of like a character thing, I guess. But
it helps explain Leo's motivations. Leo, who otherwise wants to obey Splinter.
Yeah, he wants Splinter's approval. He's more likely to rat on a plan than to join it.
Yeah.
But then,
which is very Leo.
Motivated by a girl.
So, this is not the first time Leo has had a crush. Leo, in the 2012 series, had a crush on Splinter's daughter. That's right, Richard. Splinter had a daughter in that one TV series.
She also a rat?
No, she was a snake.
What?
She wasn't my favorite character.
Bipedal snake or on the ground snake?
I don't remember.
Okay. Well,
actually, she was a ninja raised by Shredder in that series.
Adopted daughter.
But Splinter's biological daughter.
Okay.
But Karai.
So he gets it on with a snake.
Karai got.
That's actually less disturbing than who he gets it on with at the end of this film.
I liked how he segued into that. No, he didn't get it on with a snake. He got it on with
what was that thing?
A Chinese woman who had a daughter, and that daughter eventually got mutated into a snake.
I see.
But anyway, okay. Yeah, that was a scumbag in this film.
Scumbag, yeah.
Who used to be. I want to talk about this. I don't care, except for Wingnut, but I don't care. They turned some of the characters into females in this film. Leatherhead is now a female. Wingnut seems to be a female, I think.
Yeah, that was my impression.
And Scumbag turns out to be a female.
Yeah, whom falls in love with / Splinter.
Yeah.
Falls in love. He's like, I can't meet many mutants in my day-to-day life.
So that was weird.
And the kissing is very awkward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't mind that Scumbug. Scumbug is a woman. I don't mind that Leatherhead's a woman. I actually kind of like that. Wingnut was one of my favorites, though. Wingnut thinks he's a hero like Batman. I guess it's a Batgirl now, but whatever.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, why not?
I had no attachment to those characters because I had not seen them in anything myself. Rocksteady and Bebop were the only characters there was like a through line for me, like from the original animated series, obviously. And I like the fact, which I'm trying to remember, did they occasionally team up with the Turtles? I'm trying to remember, like maybe accidentally almost, like
accidentally. I don't know that they ever purposely teamed up with the Turtles.
But one of the cool, I guess, is a good segue into some of the really cool, I guess, I would say inspirational parts of this film is like the, as the Turtles are struggling with wanting acceptance and trying to, initially their motivations for wanting to save the day or acceptance, when it becomes clear how horrible, truly horrible Superfly's plans are, he basically wants to turn every non-human living creature on the planet into a mutant, but then enslave the human race, basically torture them. He's like, I'll attain all kinds of ideas, make them pets and all that.
Which that's not really how mutagen works, though. It would also turn the humans into
mutants, you would think. Yeah, that was maybe a little bit of a plot hole there. But in general, like he wants to eventually kill all the humans, or enslave them. Right? You just do horrible things to humans because he has been mistreated legitimately. Like he and his father were mistreated by humans. So this is some of his earliest memories, and I like how they show that distinction between both the similarities between him and Splinter and how they both reacted to being mistreated by humans. Like there's an extent in which they did both react with violence, but Splinter, it was more defensive in the sense that he just wanted his turtles to be prepared to defend themselves against the humans, whereas Superfly took a very active role in perpetrating violence against the humans and was planning said violence, whereas Splinter is kind of more like, no, I just want you to be prepared and we're going to hole up and you just have to do what I say. And this is actually an eye-opening moment for Splinter. He hears Superfly as all of his minions, his friends, like basically his family, the ones that he had raised, who were also mutated by the same father, I guess, had created them. They turn against him at the end because they don't want to murder everybody. They don't want that on their conscience. They join the Turtles against Superfly. And as he's being overwhelmed by the entire group, including the Turtles, he says, this would all be better if you just do what I say. I think basically, and he says the same thing that Splinter had said earlier, and that it just hits Splinter in that moment, and he realizes, oh, I don't want to be like this. And then he tells the Turtles that later. He's like, I love you, like I want to support you. I want you to be safe, but I also want you to be happy. So as a parent, he reaches a new level of letting go and letting his boys be more independent, I guess. But I do love, though, and I want to hear your thoughts on.
Yeah.
I love that we get to see Splinter fight, and he's badass.
Yeah, I love that scene. I loved how he was proficient with every weapon of the Turtles.
Will had some fist raising in that scene, right?
Oh, yeah. It's always good to see Master Splinter. That was one thing I really wanted to see as a kid watching the original 80s series, is I just really wanted to see Master Splinter let loose because he is the master, and you just expected that if he let loose, it was going to be like Yoda in the prequels. But it just doesn't happen.
Except without the cockroach hopping.
All that much. Yeah, except without the cockroach
hopping. Jumping. I guess cockroaches don't hop technically, with the flea hopping.
Yeah.
Boing, boing. Anyway, sorry.
So, yeah, it's awesome, that rare moment where Master Splinter actually gets to take center stage.
Yeah, no, I like that. Because I was wondering if they were going to do that. And then as it was leading up to it, I was like, oh, yeah, it's coming. It's coming. The fight's coming. He's gonna break in, and he'll do his little old man thing, but then he's going to kick butt. Like, he does have to crack his back a couple times. Like,
Yeah. So what did you think, by the way, of Bastard Splinter's facial hairstyle?
Oh.
His 80s, 70s stash and afro.
Oh, yeah. When he's like raising them, which they have. I thought this
Yeah.
was great. Like, they have a montage, I don't know if it's the right word, or
Yeah.
sequence where he's raising the turtle. He's like doing parent stuff, like giving them baths, and then they're scared at night, so he lets them sleep with him, which as a parent of 4 young kids, I don't think I've ever had all four I've had all four come into the room at the same time, but I don't think we've ever let all four sleep in the room at the same time. But no, there's that scene, so I love that. But yeah, I was like, I don't know, I was a little confused because like this is 15 years ago, so like, was that supposed to be a fro? Because like this would have been what, 2008, roughly. I mean, that's assuming it's supposed to be concurrent. But yeah, Will's wife's calling him, so we're probably gonna have to wrap up here soon, which I was planning on anyway.
I have more thoughts and opinions.
Well,
But yeah.
I'll tell you what, you check and see if she's texted you while and I'll talk here for a
She
bit.
hasn't.
Okay. Yeah, it is late. We went to a late. Well, I mean, it's the only showing that would have worked for today. So, what can you do?
Should I spit out my remaining thoughts and opinions, or do you have some stuff? Okay.
Spit 'em out.
So we're left with a bunch of mutants who appear to be good guys at this point by the end of the film, and I'm wondering if we're going to get the Mighty Mutanimals. Now, Richard probably doesn't know who that is. Do you know who that is?
I do
That
not,
group?
but it sounds cool.
The Mighty Mutanimals is from the Archie comics. They are a group of mutants, kind of like the X-Men. It was a spin-off comic book series starring the mutants cast members other than the Turtles in their own book. So I'm wondering if we're going to get the Mighty Mutanimals. 2, I have a criticism for this film.
Okay.
We had too many mutants, and they didn't get enough screen time. I love Rocksteady and Bebop, always have, and I love them in this film, but they didn't get enough screen time. And then several of the characters were just sidelined almost completely, like Genghis Frog.
Oh yeah, he had a little moment there where he was like hopping like. Boop.
Yeah. I feel like some of the mutants were just shoehorned in to sell toys. I feel that way
It's very
because
possible.
they had almost no character development, no screen time, no nothing in this film. They were just there. Genghis Frog is a good... I'm not even sure Genghis Frog would even make a good toy, though, but in this version of
They could
Genghis
try.
Frog. But, you know, yeah, they
I
can
wonder
try.
I wonder if Hasbro still makes the Turtles toys. They did back when I was a kid. Hasbro.
I thought it was Playmates.
Was it? I thought
Yeah. Well, Playmates is making the toys for this series. I've been watching Playmates commercials.
I may be wrong. I was thinking it was Hasbro back in the day. But yeah, they definitely made G.I. Joes and Transformers and all that kind of stuff. But I thought they did the Turtles too. I may be remembering incorrectly though, because that was a long time ago.
Oh, well.
I'm old AF. Just turned 40 recently. My goodness.
Yeah.
Big 40. Yeah. Here I am.
Happy birthday again. How does it feel to be 40?
Sobering. A little sobering. Yeah, maybe more so than 30 was, like, in terms of decades. Yeah, and having more kids now and stuff. Feels cool on the one hand. It's like, yeah, I'm 40. Yeah, it's like a real man now, you know, whatever. But on the other hand, it's like, damn, I'm halfway to death.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, don't even get me started on that.
Yeah.
I'm going to be 40 soon, too.
So sobering, but yeah, I think overall it feels pretty good. Yeah, but yeah, I definitely do feel different. I think, like, some birthdays pass and you're like, you know, but yeah, 40 is a pretty big one, I think, and yeah.
I think that's all of my thoughts and opinions about the film, other than Wingnut Sidekick Screwloose is not present. Fix it. He must have his Rob. Oh, she must have her Robin.
Nice. Yeah,
the
yeah.
mosquito.
Well, they can definitely bring that in.
Yeah.
To the next one, which, again, spoiler warning, but the I can't remember, was it, I think it was in the film or the cutscene, but I guess it was the cutscene, like, they're going to bring Shredder into the sequel.
Yeah.
So they introduced Shredder very briefly. Was it TC
RI
is going to call on, which apparently they've done before, so there's some backstory there. But they're going to call on the Shredder, because I guess he has experience with mutants or something, supposedly. Or at least he has some special expertise that they anticipate will help in solving the mutant problem.
I just still hope he's the leader of the Foot Clan.
Yeah. I imagine that will probably come through. Although, who knows? Who knows?
They've changed the other characters' origins.
But yeah, I did want to say, like, a couple things. Like, I love a couple of things that I loved about the story is, like, where the Turtles come to a point where the initial reaction that they see when they start fighting the massive version of Superfly, Super Mutant Superfly. Now, Super Mutant Superfly.
Super Duper Fly.
Super duper Superfly or whatever. Anyway, the moment where the initial public reaction, which shows up in Times Square, is very negative. They think the Turtles are the ones actually leading the attack, and Leonardo, has a really good hero speech where he's like, you know what? I realized, like, we were doing this for the wrong reasons. We were doing this just because we wanted to be liked and accepted by humans, but, like, we need to basically just do this because it's the right thing to do. It's like, I still just want to be a hero, like, even if no one likes us for it. So they let go of this desire to be liked, and they just go after it just for the sake of being heroes. And within the film, they get rewarded for that. Like, April, they've already won April over, so she breaks into basically a newsroom and sets the story straight. It's like, hey, these guys are actually fighting Super Duper Fly.
Yeah,
trying to bring him down, which they are able to do. They don't kill him,
yeah,
because he's still alive at the end, but he's back to his original fly state, which normally flies only have like a half-life of 24 hours, 48 hours.
He won't make it to the sequel.
Yeah, he's gonna die soon. You better mutate him back. And I don't know what their plans are for him, but my guess is he's gonna come back as Superfly. Probably.
Well, they did get some turtle blood from Mikey Raff.
That's true. They did. They got enough. They can create some mutants of their own if they wish.
Maybe Slash, the snapping turtle, will come into play.
They milked.
Yeah, they milked them.
Milked the turtles. Milked them. What did I tell you? They will milk you. It's like, and the machine actually says, was it the Milk 2000 or something?
Yeah.
Milker 2000.
That was great.
Or something. Which, do turtles, I think turtles, actually, they actually have milk. They're reptiles.
No.
Yeah, I wouldn't, no, because reptiles lay eggs, so no, there wouldn't be any milk. Yeah, so it's just a joke. So, yeah,
Richard has thought too much into this.
But anyway, yeah, no, I really like this film. Has a positive messages in it. It's good action film. It's well written, well directed, well acted. Music is good. Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross, by the way, did the music. Not to mention, like, there's some pretty fly, as they might say, like rap and hip hop songs on the album as well. That's probably not the right term, but we're old white men. What could we say? Middle-aged white men. But anyway, some really good music, and I didn't catch a Post Malone song, although Post Malone is in the movie. So, and he plays a manta ray who wants to sing, who dreams of singing. Yeah. It's like, I don't know if I want to really kill everyone. I think I just want to sing. Which I thought was great. But no, yeah, I really liked it. Really enjoyed it. I think, best Turtles film I think I've seen to date.
Probably.
So yeah, once I see all the others, I can say more definitively whether it is or isn't, but I suspect it'll still be definitely in the top 3, even after I see all the others, I think.
Are we going to see all of them this month?
We're going to see a few. Now, the Netflix one, you and I will both see for the first time.
Yeah.
So that'll be cool. We'll get to see one together that neither of us have seen. But yeah, obviously you've read all the comics, so that'll be...
Well,
I mean, the ones we're going to be covering, you've already read.
Right.
So it's like, will be old ground for you, so to speak. And have you seen the anime yet?
I have. I've seen
You have,
both
okay.
episodes of the OVA.
Okay, so he's seen the OVA already. So it'll be new territory for me. So yeah, but somewhere in this month, either as a subscriber episode or as the finale, we're gonna cover the rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Netflix film, which came out last year, actually, 2022. So, nerds, look forward to next week as we dive into the comics. Kevin Eastman, Peter Laird, which, by the way, if you guys just happen to be listening and you want to come on and talk, feel free. We can't offer much coverage, but you might have fun. You might have fun. You'll help us out, that's for sure. Yeah, I doubt they'll ever hear this, but just in case, you never know.
Well, I don't know. I follow Kevin Eastman on Facebook. I don't think he sees any of my posts, though.
Probably not. He probably doesn't even get on Facebook. He probably has somebody that posts for him. He has
Probably. Who
maybe
knows?
He might decide what he wants to post, but then someone else actually does it. I guess it depends on how famous he is. But I don't know what he looks like. Like, I know his name, but I don't know what he looks like.
I know what he looks like.
Yeah, I knew you would. So, anyway, nerds, until next time, cowabunga!
Cowabunga, dudes.
Which we did not hear a cowabunga in this film.
Yes, we did. Mikey said cowabunga in slow motion when he was trying to jettison the anti-mutagen into the fly monster.
Perfect timing. That's a good place to put it if you're going to put it in the film. Yeah. I didn't catch that, though. I missed it. Cowabunga. Anyway, till next time, live long and prosper.
Sayonara.
Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of the Irreverent Nerds podcast. If you would, consider following us on Instagram. We are there at irreverent_nerds. You can also hit us up on Facebook. Just look us up there at the Irreverent Nerds. That's our fan page. We have a YouTube channel as well. Once again, the Irreverent Nerds. Nice and simple, right? And if you go to www.irreverentnerds.com, that will send you to our Podcasters for Spotify, formerly Anchor.fm, profile, where you can send us a voice message if you want to, you can support us financially, or listen to the podcast. It will also direct you to other places you can listen, like Spotify, Apple, Google, Stitcher, you name it. So, like, comment, subscribe, follow, all those good things, wherever you find us, wherever you listen to us, we would greatly appreciate it. Until next time, nerds, live long and prosper. Avengers assemble! I'm Batman.